Good evening and welcome to Livid Comics Lair. Tonight's guest, we have a professional digital colorist and comic book creator who's done numerous independent books in the US, Australia, and the UK, as well as for Valiant Comics, Image Comics, Zenescope Entertainment, Dynamite Entertainment, and Marvel as well. There's no stopping what this guy can do, so please welcome Mr. Omi Remalante. Boom.
We are live. Yeah.
Hello.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Hello.
Friday the
Welcome, Omi.
13th.
Happy Friday. Happy Saturday.
I was gonna say, isn't it Saturday the 14th for him?
Yeah, right?
Yep, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Omi's in the Philippines, guys, for those people that are just tuning in and watching. So we're global tonight. We got Rogerio in Brazil. We got Omi in Philippines, and John and I are up by Boston in the U.S. So global podcast tonight. So here we are. There you go. So anything anything unlucky happened to anybody today on Friday the 13th? Or?
Yeah, I got stuck working half an hour late the last day before my vacation, so that was unlucky.
Probably did it to
that's
yourself.
horrible.
I did it. It's because I procrastinated, and
Well, there you go. Right?
It's my fault. But
yeah. I don't think anything bad happened that I had happen. I don't think so. No, it's pretty straight up.
Didn't go turn on your tablet. Yeah, we lost half of our comic. You go turn on your tablet, right? Hopefully that didn't happen to us.
No,
you will too.
Yeah, I haven't had time to touch it this week. It's just been crazy, so it's been wild. Yep.
Yeah.
So welcome, Omi, to the show, buddy. Thank you for doing this tonight. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on these days, and we'll start running with this thing. So tell us a bit more about your background and what you got going on.
Yeah, well, I've been a comic book color artist. I started 2008 doing some, fan art stuff. Then I focused mainly on digital coloring because in the Philippines there's a lot of comic book talents here. Like Carlos Magulayan, Stephen Segovia, Alex Nino, Alfredo Alcala. So I decided why not make, why not be a digital colorist? Because I know a guy same age as like I do was really a successful colorist. His name is I forgot his name. Well, anyway, J Ramos. He's currently coloring for Marvel. So anyway, I was before I was a graphic artist in some computer company. So I was really playing around with Photoshop, and I visited the site called Deviant Art before, and I saw that, hey man, I can do it. I can do the same. So I tried, researching on coloring, and well, that time YouTube tutorials was not available. It was really you must look for some tutorial like you have to research and do that also do everything. And I stumbled upon some coloring tutorial from Steve Fairchow. Okay, Steve Fairchow. So I copied it and tweaked it a little bit. So my first digital coloring was like 2 days. One Superman figure. It took me It took me 2 days. 2 days, man. So I did nothing. But while I was at work, I was doodling around coloring. So my boss said, "What are you doing?" I'm just practicing. Just to make things faster for us. So yeah, she believed it, and yeah, From there, I started posting on DeviantArt. People noticed me, especially people from Zenescope. So that was my first pro work, Zenescope.
Oh, nice, nice. I was
That's
going to
great.
ask,
Yeah.
how did you make that break? So it sounds like that was a good platform, and that there are eyes on that platform for you, right? So
Yeah,
it seemed like that was a good move. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
so
mentioned that. Oh, I was gonna say you were like saying back then there really wasn't that much on YouTube, and I don't
yeah,
think a lot of people that are just starting out realize how lucky they are, right? It's like I got a drawing
yeah.
tablet for Christmas, and I'm like, how do I layer? And I'm like YouTube, and I'm like, boom, there you go for like 2 seconds. It's like
Yeah.
back then it's trial by error almost, right? So
That's so true because back then, uh, actually, I've been working into in local the local comic book scene around 2005, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, around 2005. Then I met Rolando Medina, who's a current DC and Marvel illustrator. He was guiding me before. Uh, when coloring, don't use blacks because some colorists always use the color black and to just to blend it with other colors, so it makes colors muddy. So he told me not to do that. So then I became a graphic artist for a computer company. Then, the work there was really boring. It bores me a lot. So after 4 years, I resigned. Concentrated on comic book coloring, and all those. What you said, John. It was all trial and error. No one's teaching me. And
yeah.
every time I post artworks on DeviantArt, I noticed that my colors before were dark. I must make it lighter. Then I'm gonna look for other color artists online and copy their tones. And from there, I learned that you don't have to do this or you have to do that just to make your colors really uh, okay when printed out. You know, so I learned a lot, and I made a lot of enemies. I made a lot of friends, more friends actually. So there, yeah.
Yeah, that's
What's
very good to hear. But
Mm.
sorry, uh, you can go on, Joel.
I was just going to say,
Joel.
what's some
Yeah.
of the common like digital brushes that you enjoy using? Like by using a watercolor brush? Is it a mixture between that and ink? Like talk us a little bit through about it. If you don't mind disclosing the tools of the
Yeah,
trade. You don't have to if it's a secret. So some guys say, I don't tell
yeah.
you which one. So yeah, but a lot of guys
Now,
like that stuff.
I
A lot of guys like that stuff.
I'm the type of artist that shares my knowledge because I can I'm not selfish when it comes to knowledge. That's why I made my YouTube channel, which is posted there in the link.
Yep, it is right there.
I share how to separate the lines from the white background, and I share how to put effects. Anyway, in terms of brushes, I only use soft brush, the regular soft brush, and the regular hard brush. And all my settings is in 100% opacity, and the flow is 100%. It's all in it's all in the weight of your hand. I'm left-handed, so I really try to control my brush strokes. That's it. I don't really play with opacity and the flow. It's just the 100% everything, and the screen mode, the mode of the brush. It's either in normal, or I set it screen, or color dodge. I don't use multiply. So because multiply will really burn your artwork. It will make your artwork really dark. So never use multiply mode. Yeah.
Good
Nice, good,
tips.
Yeah,
nice.
I was about to ask you something that kind of intrigues me. Um, from I'd say last 10 years, I'd say maybe less than that, we can see so many nice artists coming from your country. It is a very small country. I'd say like
Yeah.
per
Right.
capita, It's disproportional amount of talents you have there. And
Yes.
something similar has happened here in Brazil. Like so many illustrators and artists
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
from nowhere, people that I had never heard of, like hitting
Yeah.
big time. Like working for Marvel, DC,
Yeah.
Image, and like I was so
Yeah.
surprised because it was another world. And at the same time, we don't kind of see as many Americans as before. Uh,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
what do you think happened, like in the last 10 years, it made that kind of scenario change?
Uh, Maybe because of the preference of style. Um, because in the Philippines, we're more. I don't want to speak with other with other people here. But in my case, it's I retained the Western style, the 90s and the early 2000s style, which is painted, more muscular and all that. Well, in Brazil, like Marcio Abreu, if am I correct with his pronunciation of his name? Marcio, you know him,
Uh,
right, Rogelio?
yeah, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah. So Marcio, his style is also the 2000s. But in terms of the artwork right now, the Americans, they became very experimental. You know, like less details.
Hmm.
They were, like make it cartoonish, kiddie
Yeah,
style. The style of Marvel right now is like too, it's too Disney. It's too cartoonish. So sometimes, as a reader, like my age, I prefer, looking at good anatomy, good angles, good moods. Well, the new artists right now, it's like, yeah, they're missing a lot. Like it's more of it's more of artistic expression than the what we know, the comic book art we know and love. That's what's missing right now. So I guess people in the Philippines um really stick with that, the good comic book artwork that we all know. You know,
yeah. Maybe
it,
those
it,
people
it
just need to change and paint
yeah,
some canvas or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree completely
yeah.
with you. I
I'm
agree. And
I'm
also,
wondering
there's
if
a
I was wondering if like in Brazil and the Philippines, like the schooling might be different where they nurture art more than the United States. There was a time we used to, but now they say, oh, we have no money for the schools. So the first thing they
Yeah.
cut out is art and then sports, right? So, but
Right, right.
I've been lucky to travel all over the world, and you go to a lot of the countries, and like art is like a requirement almost. Like you have to do art, and like we don't have that. We don't embrace that as much anymore over here. It's like an extra thing.
Mm.
And then they don't take you serious if you do that thing, right? So, like,
Yeah,
oh, you're an
yeah, yeah,
artist.
yeah.
Like, oh, okay, you mean unemployed, right? So,
Yeah, right. I basically got talked out of going to art school. Like when I was going to college, I wanted to go to art school. I got talked out of it because and now I'm like, man, like I kind of regret that a bit. But yeah, you're right, and we've talked on the show about the lack of detail too that we see in a lot of books these
Yeah,
days too. So
yeah,
yeah.
backgrounds, no faces, that kind of thing, right?
yeah,
Other things,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. I should, you know what, Joel? I agree with you with the artist thing, because in the Philippines they don't teach comic book art here. It's just recently that they opened schools that has courses in on gaming, computer
Yeah, sure.
gaming and design, but not comic book art. It wasn't taught. It wasn't taught here. And yeah, you're right. I should agree with you. When you say your kid wants, Dad, I want to be like you. No, I
Right.
told my kid, no, don't ever consider
Become a
art
doctor,
as
son.
a,
Like, go
yeah,
be a doctor, a
yeah,
lawyer.
become yeah, a lawyer or maybe something in computers, but nah,
Yeah,
never digital the artist.
it's a tough road,
No,
man. It's a
yeah,
tough
I
road.
have to
Yeah,
explain myself on that. I'm not being, I'm not what do you call being negative about being an artist. For
Right,
the kids who's
exactly.
watching.
It's real. No, it's real. It's real.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, art is always in us.
Right.
You can like right now, like what John said, everything's on YouTube. You don't know how to, do a structure, anatomy, research. You can do it in your pastime, not as a main job, because you have to be really good at what you're doing in order to get noticed. Not everyone's good.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's good. Everyone has a style, but it has to be a complete package. You have to
Yeah.
hit deadlines. You have to do good. You have to be fast. You have to be everything in one package. So if you lack one of those characteristics, you won't make it in the comic book industry. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
So
actually,
it's
and
I
you still have to be also nice and outspoken.
exactly.
Like people don't
Yes.
like
Yes.
weirdos in this industry. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a
Yeah.
big thing here.
Yeah.
Like, all right, don't be an asshole. Don't ever be that kind of artist because you be
Exactly.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. I should
Yeah.
agree with
You
you
know,
because you know people were asking me, Omi, how do you do it? Like what I said, I hit the deadlines. I love what I'm doing, and I know how to market myself, and I'm very friendly because yeah, you have to have connections. You
Yeah.
have to have connections because if you make a lot of enemies, man, you won't get any single project, even a small project, because you say, hey man, that guy's really bad. The guy's attitude really sucks. So I try
Yeah.
to be friendly all the time.
yeah, but that
That's
only
great.
works if you have that in you. If you don't, like, you can fake it. Like that's you have the real deal. Like, this is the
Yeah,
person you are. Like, you cannot
yeah,
just, all right, I'm not making money. I'm not putting my name
yeah,
out there. I have to become nice. I think that's impossible. Like, you have to
yeah,
have it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
people see through that stuff eventually, at
Yeah,
least, right?
sure.
So yeah.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah. But well,
When
Ruggerio's nice.
yeah.
Ruggerio's a very nice guy. He was our first ever guest, and now he's a co-host. That's how nice he is. So it's
Wow, that's
yeah.
That
great.
can happen. That can happen to anyone. If they like you, you're stuck here forever. You won't ever have another Friday night.
Yeah,
John's
Yeah,
gonna
but
try next week. I think he's going on vacation. He's gonna try, right? So
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My
Let's
wife.
get a third one here.
I might try to tune in from my vacation spot. We'll see, but not on my anniversary
guarantees.
though. I won't do it on my anniversary. That might get me in trouble. So,
All right.
but
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Omi, do you have kids? And if you do, like, would you encourage them to do what you do, or maybe become an artist doing some other
yeah.
stuff? Would you?
I have two kids, 16 and 15, a girl and a boy. So both knows how to draw. Both knows how to animate. But I never
Wow.
encouraged them. I never encouraged them to go the same path as I did. I always ask. I always tell them that go and pursue the path of your mother because my wife is a lawyer, works for the government. So
Yeah.
be a lawyer or be someone else, but not an artist like me because yeah, like I said, you have to have all those characteristics to be to get projects.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
do you?
I assume you're happier.
Yeah, I am
Yeah,
very
Yeah.
happy.
if you were, you wouldn't make a good lawyer, would you?
He's
Nah,
nice. No, he's
I don't
he's
know.
he's good at.
I don't
He,
know. No, I
You
don't
know, a
know.
lawyer. Sometimes you have to be a piece of work when you are a lawyer. Like, you have to have arguments all the time and make enemies.
you
And
gotta have
like,
thick skin.
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't make so many enemies in this industry here.
Well,
At
well,
least I still
uh, my wife's a
still
good
didn't.
lawyer. It's really good lawyer, and she's a nice woman. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's not
Yeah, I
being
believe that.
Yeah, I know.
maybe
That
it's
sounded like we were calling his wife mean. That's not what we were trying to
yeah,
say.
no, no, it's not. It's
No,
not.
no, that's not what I meant.
I
No.
I think being a lawyer is, you have to, uh, you can get around with some questions. You can make it more flowery and stuff. Maybe that's being a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are safer as well, yeah, because like when you
Yeah.
no, I mean you're safer money wise, like you got a
Yes.
real job,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when we finish a project, we are unemployed again.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't
Right.
that right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, all right, the
Exactly.
project is done. I got my money, and now what the fuck? I am unemployed
I don't.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but when you think back to your kids though, like I'm sure, like do your kids think you're famous? Like I've joked on this show how my son, like our comic book, I named the main character after my son, and he thinks that Will's going to be the most popular name in the world now. And I'm like, we're an indie publishing company, buddy. They kind of know if that's going to
Yeah.
make the needle move at all. But and then Virginia was talking about how his daughter. We interviewed a horror author that she'd read, and she thought we were so cool for it. It's like, but like you said, right? It's career wise, like it's cool what we do. But
Mm.
yeah, I hear you there. My son actually was trying to mimic the comic book we were drawing. Almost, if Joel saw it, he'd probably want to sue him for plagiarism. But, but
Would I
it
get
changed a
a
few.
lot, John? Would there be a lot of money there? I mean, that might be the answer to my needs over here. So,
Well, my in-laws taught him how to play poker with dimes the other day, so he's got about $2 worth of dimes if you want to go for that.
I'm gonna
Nice.
lawyer up, sir. It's
Nice.
coming. Get ready.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's awesome.
So
Now,
yeah.
Ami, let me ask. Was it now? Obviously, so I think what could happen too, right? Being a colorist, there's a lot of people. They want to break into the industry, but they say, "Hey, you know what, man? I want to be the pencil guy. Like, it's got to be my art, right?" Now, was there anything that you ran into like that? Or do you find people asking you things like that? Like, would you rather be drawing your own stuff? Is it like a drag just being the color guy? Like, talk a little bit about that, because I think that's kind of an interesting thing that I think would be on a lot of people's mind.
Yeah. Uh, I am a graduate of fine arts, so I really know how to draw. I know how to paint. I know how to animate. I know how to do everything. But coloring is my love, because it sets the mood of an illustration. So that's what I love: putting the right lighting, putting the right shadows, and then you know I've worked with a lot of people for the past 13 years. Yeah, I've worked with lots of personalities, lots of attitude, whether humble and really bright a lot. And sometimes, yes, I fight back. I'm the type of person who fights back because I know what I'm doing. You know, uh, and then I really hate it when an illustrator, because that's what the proper term is: illustrator who illustrates, a letter artist who does the letters, a color artist like myself who puts colors. So and an inker, So people are confused. Ah, like Joel Van Patten, artist. Well, some reviewers do that, so they don't they don't advertise us like myself, a colorist. So anyway, I worked with some people back then that really tells a lot that, like, you have to adjust this, you have to do this, you have, like, tons of revisions. I don't mind doing revisions, but you have to say it properly, because I have my own, artistic expression also. Yeah,
Sure.
I know what I'm doing, so just ask me politely. You know, we can work together. But if you're like such, you brag a lot and you have this attitude, I'm gonna fight back,
Yeah.
because man, you're paying me to share my skills to your book, so
Hmm.
trust my
And
skills.
it's your
I
style,
always
right? It's
say that.
ultimately it's
Yeah,
your
it's my style.
style. Yeah. So I used to run into that a lot with I did oil painting and fine art also. That was my background, and
Uh,
you do a lot of
uh,
portrait work, right? So I want portrait, draw the kid, draw their girlfriend, whatever. Okay, fine.
mm,
But they always want it to be exactly the photograph. And I tell them, like, man, if
Right.
you want the photo, go to the Photoshop and have them make a copy, right? Because
Yeah.
to look like
Right.
in my hand, you need to see my style in that, right? That's what you're paying me
Exactly.
for,
Exactly.
right? So,
Yeah.
when I was a portrait artist, I had to learn early on that you will make 3 revisions no matter what, every single time,
Yes.
because people see
Exactly.
themselves
Yeah.
different, right? So somebody be like, oh, the nose is a little large. I'm like, hey man, I hate to break it to you, you got a big nose, right? So, but you just
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
oh fuck it, it's the client, whatever they want to do, right? What they want, make them happy. So fix, all right, I'll fix the thing. But when I was a young artist, I get like, oh, this upset me because like I'm like, it's freaking perfect, it's right on, and then like I don't care, man, if they want to pay me to make a smaller nose, make a smaller nose. So that's what we
Yeah.
did, right? So yeah, to your
Yeah.
point, like when they're coming at you wanting to change things and try to take your
Mm-hmm.
hand out of the work,
Uh-huh.
right? So it
Uh-huh.
doesn't look like Omi's coloring anymore. It looks like somebody else's. So it's kind of a drag,
Yes.
right? That's not why they're hiring
Yes.
you.
Uh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's the time.
Yeah.
That's the time I fight back.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
say that, man, that's not my work anymore. And I did like 20 revisions now. You have to pay me for that extra 18 revisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
it's all about the
Yeah,
communication too, right? Because like if it was
exactly.
something where it was like if they came to you and said, "Hey, I pictured this scene with the light coming down from this side, not this side," or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sure, okay, but not like, "Hey, like what you do here? Like you ruined this." Or something. I don't know how they say it to you exactly, but like
Yeah.
that this doesn't work for me. Like you got to fix this. Like okay, like
Yeah.
I would want the communication. What is it that makes you want me to do this versus that? Like
Yeah.
so it's huge. I mean that
Yeah.
obviously Joel and Rosario are the only two artists that I've worked with
Mm-hmm.
as far as but I don't do any of the art, so I can't really talk to like my drawings that they're coloring or anything like that. But just from a writer to a drawing perspective, it's I feel like we have really good open dialogue and communication on like, hey, this
Mm-hmm.
panel wouldn't work like this. Can I do this? And like that, you need that. If you want to have a successful
Yeah.
book, you got to have that
Yeah.
communication. So
Yeah. Yeah. Communication is the key because yeah, and we have to have the same mindset. The writer, the illustrator, the colorist, and maybe the letter artist. So yeah, sometimes the writer has this vision. I work with Thomas Signowski. I'm sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, but he's a current writer of Vengeance of Vampirella. And what he does is um, he puts his ideas, his vision in his script. You know, uh, nighttime, starry night, full moon, and all that. So already have this vision. Then when the illustrator comes along and said, "Hey Omi, I wanna chat with you with page one. You have to have a candlelit lighting in one side to make that mood effect." And we're on the same page. We're on the same page, so we work well. And it's our 22nd issue of Vengeance of Vampirella for Dynamite right now, and I had no problems working with all of them, from Thomas, from our editor, Joe, and Michael Santamaria and Kuber. We all work the same. We have the same vision for the project. So we didn't have any problems doing that. So yeah, communication is really the key. And of course, it really starts with the writer. You have to write what you are, your vision is, so you can the illustrator can relate on that vision and can pass it along to the color artist.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a crucial because if someone tells you what they have in mind before you start the job is one thing, but after you do it, that's another one. Like you have to rework everything.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
I hate those. I hate those types of people.
This is a
You
pain
spend
in the
like
neck.
3 hours. You spend like 3 hours, 5 hours working. You're making it beautiful. Then say, this is not the vision I was visioning. The art. So can you remake it, man? You have to pay me again. It's
yeah.
Sure.
really
I can't
BS.
even imagine that, man. Like that's like when we're working on our books, right? Like do does it always look exactly like I pictured it in my head? No, but I don't care because at the end of the day, these guys are doing their vision, and I flat out I'm like, hey, I say X amount of panels, like, and this is whatever. Like, I'm so new to this. Like, I'm just doing what I just to get them along, right? Like, I'm just trying to get better at it every day at it. But if they said 4 panels versus 5 panels makes more sense, or vice versa, or you know, you can't have this character looking at this character in that panel, like the way you're explaining it. I'm like, go with your gut, in that situation, and I want that communication. So that's, I think a lot of people need to hear that because there's a lot of writers out there. There's a lot of, illustrators, colorists, whatever, that they don't want to communicate on that. They don't want to budge. They have their vision, right? But it's not always going to come out the way that each person wants it in their head, because everyone, when you read a novel, everyone reads it and they picture something different in their head, so
Exactly.
you have to understand that.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's another thing. Actually, it's another question. There's nothing to do with the previous one, but I don't mind. Omi, when you get some into a project, all right, and you don't know the artists, all right, and you like the project just is kind of delayed, and you keep on imagining what type of art are you going to have on your lap. Which type of artist would you prefer? The cleaner one, like not many hatches, not many black stuff, not too much contrast, or would you prefer the type of guy who would survive without colors? Which one's is the most challenging for you, work-wise?
Work-wise, I can color every artwork, every illustration that's been passed along in my direction. So I have no problems with that. But in terms of having difficulty coloring, I'm having difficulty coloring illustrations with grayscale, because like I said recently, I don't really use blacks in colors. Well, whereas if you color an illustration with grayscale, it has black on it already. So the
Yeah.
tendency will be your colors will look muddy. It will look really dirty. So I have to adjust a lot of things like the levels, the contrast, the hues, everything. I'm working right now with David Sanchez. We've done lots of exclusive covers like the Something's Killing the Children and Department of Truth stuff. So
Yeah.
he's realism. The artist Joel, who maybe like you, who does the portrait stuff, the realistic stuff. He does that with charcoal and graphite. So sometimes it's really a challenge to color his work, but you know it turns out really great. It turns out like an old picture, a sepia picture. So yeah, but I find it really difficult coloring that stuff.
All
I like
right.
some of Ruggerio's black and white stuff so much that we're talking about not even coloring it, 'cause it's got such an art noir kind of look to it. We're like, man, like everyone's like this
Really
black and white.
nice.
It looks like it looks like old Frank Miller stuff, in my opinion, like old Sin City
Yeah.
kind of feel,
Wow.
like very heavy black and white contrast. Like, man, I'm gonna be coloring it. I was like, man, I don't even know if I should, because this stuff's like on fire, like black and white, So it's
A
ripping.
lot
So
of people are saying that too. Like, they're like, "Are you guys doing this in black and white?" And we're like, "I think we're gonna have to do at least a black and white edition of this." So
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Tex Wheeler, which is most of it is in black and white, and Alex Stott. I learned so much from those guys, and I really don't mind if you have a nice illustration and black and white. I don't mind colors, but
Yeah.
I really want to see nice colors when I go for a Hulk, for example, or a Superman. I can not think Superman without the blue and the red and the whole stuff. but I see there's some resistance to the black and white thing because color in comics has advanced so much through those years. Because like now we have Photoshop, we got Painter, we have Scrita, and so many and great software to work with. And those guys are getting better and better. Like if you pick any comic book from the 70s, 80s, there's no comparison. The level is
Yeah,
the bar is so up color wise, and I don't
yeah.
think the artists, the illustrators have followed that. Color has evolved, like a tenfold in comparison. I'd say, yeah. This is why I ask this kind of things because, you know, sometimes if you don't have the right colorist for your project, you're doomed. Like you
Yeah,
just you forget
true,
about it. Forget
true.
about it. You got to have the right guy because people are really demanding those days, and you
Mm,
have to
yep,
make an impression with your
right.
art. And colors is one of
Yeah,
the, if not after the artist, the illustrator is the most important thing. I don't mind if you have a bad letterer, which sucks. When they're bad, they screw,
mm,
the story. But when you have nowadays, when you have just a flat guy doing colors, now all right, I don't want this one. If you know what I mean.
yeah.
And you
I'm
also
a big
you do
fan.
your flats, yeah?
Yeah, no, no,
You do the flats.
I do the flats for covers, but I have an assistant in terms of the sequential art. So
All right,
I,
yeah.
I, I really don't have time to flat for sequential artworks. Anyway, I'm a big fan of comic book noir.
Yeah,
So
noir.
Either way.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a fan also of I'm a huge follower of Matt Hollingsworth, which is Eisner awardee, really good colorist, and he plays a lot with flat colors and puts textures on it. So it's challenging. I'm doing a book also right now with who's this guy? Wait, it's the former Marvel artist, uh, Steve Geiger. If you know him, he did Punisher, Hulk,
Yeah.
and we're doing a sci-fi noir right now. And thanks to Matt Hollingsworth work, I know what to do. It's a flat color, but the muted colors are perfect for that for noir. Yes, and you're right. Not every colorist can adapt with that style. You really have to study the warm and the cool colors because
That's exactly how I might
in
approach
noir you have
Rogerio's is doing
right.
that muted
Y-
color because
Yeah,
it takes place in the
yeah.
1910s also, so it's an old look. So it might be a lot of sepia tone, very very wash
Yeah,
color. Like yep, exactly. Yep.
it has to be. Yeah, you know what I do? I just put flat color. Then yeah, like I said, play with the white, the warm and the cool side, the colors, and put a texture like a watercolor texture. That's it. You don't have
Yeah.
Yep.
to, you don't have to put tons of, shines and effects. It has to be simple. It has to, you know, make the subject matter, the person who's talking pop. That's it. You don't have to put
Take us
fancy,
through.
vibrant colors.
Yeah, kind of leads me up to my next question. Take us through your
Yeah.
process a little bit when you're coloring. So, like, for example, like when I'm oil painting, it's easier to work dark to light in the oil painting medium.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about, somebody that may not know if they're coloring. Do you start with dark color and work your way light? Do you work in the middle, work your way back? I personally work in the middle and go both directions. That's how I work it.
We're the same. We're exactly the same. I work
Okay.
in the middle. Yeah. Or I really want to show you some process I did, but yeah, on my YouTube, it's
Yeah, put it up
it's
there.
there. It's how anyway. Anyway,
Yeah, we
I
can leave the
start.
link down
You know,
here.
you know what? I'm gonna share you my secret in coloring. Once I receive an artwork, an illustration, I don't work on it as fast as I can. When I get the email, I work. No, I just stare at it. Give me like 30 minutes, 15 minutes to stare at the illustration. And because I try to imagine, I try to vision where the light will come from. Because when I start coloring, like that Fantastic Four, the background of Rogerio, I vision that. I before I start, the light should be here on the center. Because the background will be very dark. There in the Sue Storm's what do you call it? Shield. So anyway, I start from uh, I start usually I start in the face. I put a highlight in the forehead because that's where the bounce of light will be. The forehead, always in the forehead. Okay, so like myself, it's the light will start here, so the gradient will start here. And from there, I'll start, you know, the middle tone, all the middle tones. Then add the highlights, like this one, the highlight. I'm gonna use a screen mode brush or maybe a lighter color. Then I'm gonna finish up with the darker areas. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna start from the
as we can see,
yeah,
here, you are creating art when you do it, because
yeah,
look at that.
yes. I
Look at
add
this.
I yeah I add
You had
the
to imagine the whole stuff to go through this.
Yeah.
yeah
It's a lot of work, a lot of work.
yeah
Look at that. Even the look at that. Look at her hands
Interesting.
there. Like you have to create this. Like the artist,
yeah
like probably didn't
How, lo-
yeah.
how
That
long does a
didn't know
piece
that he
like
that
would
that?
do
grade
How
that.
long does that take? How long does that take on me to do some a piece like that? Is that hours, days? How
that
long would something like that take?
no that took me around 3 to 4 hours to color.
Oh, wow.
Jeez,
Wow, that's
that
fast.
seems that
Yeah,
seems nice and quick.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I told you recently that my first artwork took me 2 days, and from 30 years of coloring nonstop, we'll give you that. It will make you faster. Will make you been there, done that attitude. So yeah, that's the only trick I can share. Just vision your artwork before doing something. Before finalizing it. So it will really make you think things faster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This stuff fascinates
and
me. Like it really does. Like I only do pencil drawings. I don't do coloring or anything like that. But I always
mm,
start like when I after I draw, like I'll start dark because I'll do the dark and then I blend it out to so that in my mind I think dark to light. But you guys obviously with color it's different. You have a lot more to work with.
yeah.
But this is fascinating to me to listen to
Uh,
this. So yeah.
Good thing Joel and I has the same mindset when it comes to coloring.
I'm glad I guessed
Yeah.
correctly. It was more just an educated guess. Like, I was like, oh, I'll just start in the middle. And that, so I usually try to
Yeah,
do, what I'm doing, I try to do like 3 steps, right? So I figured middle, dark, highlight, shadow, right? So middle, highlight, shadow, right? So that's what I'm looking at. So when we look at a piece like the thing like that, are you using like an airbrush tool to get that gradation, or how do you work in that gradation? What's the
okay.
digital brush you use for that?
Actually, I'm using a hard brush on that one, on
Oh, really? Okay,
the
interesting.
Fantastic Four piece. And actually, every artwork, every illustration I colored, I always use mainly a hard brush. I'm into the painterly type of coloring. I really hate those 90s to 2000s airbrush and then
Very
then
smooth,
the
right? Yeah, very
yes
smooth.
barefoot
Yeah.
then
Yep.
then put a lasso and edged shadows or edged lighting. I really don't do that. As you notice that alien artwork
I
with
love
that
that.
uh, that's a hard brush painted style. So it's not that edgy, but it's more of the realistic type.
It's got a very soft look. I'm just impressed that you're able to pull that off with a hard brush, right? That's surprising, like, because it looks like it's almost
Yeah,
airbrushed, right? So it's a very
uh-huh.
soft,
It's all in the
color.
pulse.
Okay.
Uh,
So it's all in the wrist,
yeah.
right? So it's a
All do the
just
wrist.
a
Yeah.
light touch. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
gotcha.
Yeah,
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 I'm the same
it
way.
is
I'm the same way
amazing.
with like even my fine art. To your point, like there's amazing oil painters. They can do photorealistic art. That's great, man. But we have photography,
Yeah.
right? I want to see
Yeah.
like somebody grinding the paint on there and see all the
Mm.
strokes, and I
Uh-huh.
like that a lot more when you can see the art in the art, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that
Right.
does a lot more for me as an artist. I appreciate that more.
Mm.
And how long does it take to color an entire page? Like I know
Uh,
that must vary, but like in average.
well, uh, when I'm coloring sequential artworks, or covers, pinups, it really depends on my mood. But sometimes I don't color at all. Like it takes me days. Like if I'm not in the mood, I'm gonna leave it and play video games or do something else. But when I'm in the mood, or usually I'm in the mood because if I don't work, I don't have money, so I have to be in the mood. So sequential artworks takes me 10 pages. Takes me like 3 days to do the entire 10 pages.
That's
When it
very
comes
fast.
to covers, yeah, like that cover by J. Scott Campbell and the Aliens, that both took me like around roughly 6 to 7 hours, both. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if the illustration is really really good looking, or maybe the illustrator is a famous one. Sometimes it takes me like 2 hours, 3 hours only
Ah,
because I
no,
really
I
hype
hate
up.
you.
I'm
Oh no,
yeah,
that
Are
would
there
take me
things
like
that
yeah.
forever.
Are there things that illustrators can do that help make your job more easy? You mentioned like the grayscale. Are there other things that you can kind of, if you had to tell them, like, hey man, make sure you do this because it really gives us colorists a better ability to do this job? Are there any tips or tricks that you can provide for someone before they hand the work off to a colorist like that?
Okay. You know, I really work faster, and I really like it when the illustrator is not that detailed in terms of backgrounds. You know, um, I really hate coloring buildings. I really hate coloring kitchen sink with full of plates, bottles, and glasses and spoon forks. And man, if the script really needs that thing, that sort of scene, might as well do it. But if it's not, don't be detailed because man, it's really hard
I
work.
got one here for you.
Yeah,
There's one for you. There's
yeah, that's yeah. What's that? Yeah, that's kind of simple, but if you don't need it in a scene, just be minimalistic.
you know
Like
to your point, Todd McFarlane said that he goes, if it doesn't need to be there, don't draw it. That's Todd McFarlane advice, right?
Rob
And,
Liefeld.
I've used that personally.
Remember, yeah, remember the Rob Liefeld.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He
yeah. If it
doesn't do
doesn't need to be
backgrounds at
there,
all.
don't. I've started doing that too. I'm doing Yule 2 book right now, and I'll put the figures in place first, right, and get all that figured out. I'm not even thinking about the background because who cares about a
Yeah,
tree and a mountain, and they're in the woods, and it's like whatever.
yeah.
And
Oh no,
the
no, no.
I it was yours,
Sometimes I do
Killer. Was your,
care. Sometimes I do care.
well, that's
Well, yeah,
because
but
we're
you
I
think
artists.
about it, like,
have
what you said, Joel, too, right? Like with Yule 1, he did all these detailed backgrounds, and then it's like, well, shit, we got to put text bubbles over that. Like we just wasted all that time, like doing all that, right?
exactly.
So yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. And then you
So
spend a
Yeah,
day doing a page, and somebody reads it in 10 seconds. You're like, shit, I spent so much
no.
time on that, man. Like, I
yeah,
spent
I,
so much time on that page.
true.
Yeah,
there's one panel. I spent the entire day just for one panel, and
See,
here turn. You can see that because I draw each person in the audience, and it's when the fighter gets to the ring, and I draw each character because I thought every one of them was important to be there. And then I that took my fucking day, just for
Well,
one
you
panel.
guys were doing it as a reward. You could be in the
On the
background of
cover,
the crowd
no,
on the Kickstarter.
on the cover variant. There, yeah. When I saw Will, the writer, he posted something about how if they hit a certain stretch goal, that everyone in the crowd was basically going to be a custom character too.
Yeah.
It's like all I could picture was Rogerio sitting there like, oh, like, this
Yeah,
is gonna
yeah.
suck.
I'm doing this tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's why he drinks a
Some-
lot of
Well-
beer. So
Well,
here we go.
unless
Number 37 of.
No, like, you start to hate yourself. Like, oh my God, I went this just to have fun. It's not working for me.
yeah, unless the panel, that particular panel or the cover is, needs to be detailed. Go and full blast, be detailed. But when the script doesn't need that
Yeah, yeah.
particular background or particular detail, don't do it. It's useless. Like you said, it will be covered up in word balloons.
Yeah.
You see that a lot
best
in the
example-
70s comics. The 70s
Yeah.
comics did that too. There's almost like no background. So you read like I don't know, like I was reading like She-Hulk the other day from like 79, man. There was like zero backgrounds in the whole issue. I was like, damn.
Jack
like,
Kirby.
I don't know if the guy was like up against a deadline or what, but I was like, holy shit, there's no backgrounds whatsoever in this whole book. I'm like, I gotta do that. That's a move, right? I gotta take that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
but
it was awesome.
but there are illustrators I work with who really does really great work, a very simple work, but it's there. It really is, it has that factor. My buddy Jonathan Lau, he's I worked on tons of Dynamite Entertainment books. That's one guy I really love working with because you know his style is really detailed. Like he's a big fan of Alex Ross, so he got that style, but he doesn't do a detailed background, and you won't mind as a reader, as a fellow artist, you won't mind doing that. It's like you have that wow, man, you're really great. That factor. You must check him out, his work.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are types of illustrators that can do that stuff, like magic. But there are types of illustrator that tries too hard, really detailed, and they maybe they're at the back of their mind they're thinking, once I do this really uber detailed artwork, people will say, wow. Sometimes it doesn't work because it will make your illustration very busy. It's
Yes,
really,
yeah.
painful in the eye. Eyesore, right?
I think when
It will be an eyesore.
I think when you're a young or starting out artist, I think you have a tendency to try to show your muscle. Like you want to flex and say like, and I did that too in the fine art world, man. I was trying to do realism. I'm down there with like single-haired brushes and things. And then as I got more mature as an artist, I'm in there painting with like a 6-inch squeegee, like a fork from my kitchen drawer. Like I didn't care anymore. And believe it, those paintings are the ones that sell the best. People are like, this is friggin' awesome. Like, how did you do it? I'm like, dude, I painted it with a fork. Like, so I have a painting here that I spent a month on, right? And people are like, whatever, and it looks awesome. Like, it looks like a photo, right? And then I got paintings that like I did like an hour, just ripped the thing out. And people are like, yeah, I'll buy that. Like, I'm like, really? Like this? But yeah, to your point, I mean, I think that's what you see though early on is illustrators and things want to try to prove themselves. But as they get more mature, they go, hey, I don't need to prove myself, man. Like, and another point I wanted to make too is, everybody's reading experience is different, right? So when my wife reads a book, she plows right through the book. Like, I'm talking comics too. So she inherits what I read and she takes it and reads it. And I'm like, how the hell did you get through 120 page? We read Lock and Key Man by Gabriel Rodriguez and Joe Hill, and she read an issue a night. It takes me like a week because I'm looking at all the drawings.
Like the volume, like the
like one night, like right through it. I'm looking at like all this bullshit. Like, look how he put that angle, and I never even thought about like twisting the character like that. And she's like, just look at any of that stuff. So there's different people looking at your book, and you got to think about that. Not everybody's an artist, right? They're not all gonna look at all the little nuances and appreciate the stuff like we will. So there was another. I forget the name of the person, but they were talking about that an artist will never be able to look at a piece of art the same way that somebody who's not an artist. It was really interesting to think about that,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're thinking about it mechanically. We're thinking about how did they do this, right? What's the technique? And something that does no art just looks at the picture. And like, so
Yeah.
in many ways, we'll never be able to be that ignorant and that naive to experience on that level. So it's kind of an interesting thing. It really
Yeah,
is.
you know, Joel, that's it's very interesting what you said, but I bet to disagree in just one point.
Oh
For the
boy.
second time tonight,
Oh
I'm
boy.
disagreeing with you. You know,
Oh geez,
that's rare.
I'm off my mark tonight with you, Ruggiero. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know, when you say that, like artists don't have to prove themselves all the time because you know. But look what happens to Frank Miller, for example. Frank Miller was great. Like when he came to draw in Marvel, I was astonished. I said, "Oh my God, this guy is different. Like he's leveling up." I was so impressed. And when he did The Dark Knight, was fucking fantastic for me as a kid. And then was a huge success in the whole world. And then there was, oh, sorry guys, playing here, gone. All right. And then what happened? And then, oh, this is selling. Let's do a Dark Knight 2, Dark Knight Returns and everything. And then I bought the whole stuff. It's here. I bought a fucking. All right, it's just underneath my Mac. I am not gonna mess this up. But the fact is, the art was so bad, so bad. So no, he must have done that while he's in the toilet having a shit, you know, because this is horrible. It was horrible. I felt I was betrayed. I felt really well, but this couldn't be Frank Miller. What is he doing? Like he's too experimental, too. That didn't make any sense to me, right? I say, all right, he's a big name, he's making the big bucks, but I don't mind. You have to be good. You don't have to be better every time, but you have to keep your level at least
Yeah. Yeah.
in a way that you can keep us reading your stuff. After that, I say, oh no, fuck Frank Miller. Like I feel like I'm cheated on, you know.
I don't think
I've never seen.
I don't think you go to the bullshit level. I think of it more like a maturity thing that happens, right? You just get, I guess
Yeah.
it's confidence. You get confident in what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
I
an
agree.
exception. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you are a colorist, all right?
Uh,
I can guarantee that if the next issue you go too experimental, you'll be screwed. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Same goes to mostly everyone, unless you're Frank Miller, you're John Byrne. Those guys, they can do it and come back strong. But we don't have this kind of facility.
yeah.
Now we people wouldn't go easy on us because they expect you to keep the bar up.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's great when you go experimental on your personal project. But like if you have an audience and established, man, don't mess it up. Don't mess it
Yeah.
up.
But you know, being for what I was trying to say with the artist or the illustrator or colorist to be, you know, to make things simpler. Um, for in my opinion, like what I do before, I was really way too detailed. Yeah, I agree with Joel. Everyone from the start, from the beginning of your career, you have to show, you know, you have to flex. You know, I can do
Yeah.
this, I can do that. I can be very detailed like Simon Beasley. I can do everything. You know, but once you get that, you know, the proper connections, you get, you know, a bit known in the industry. You have to make things a bit simpler, but not like what your Harry said that Frank Miller made shitty work from the present. You know, you don't have to be, you know, from up and down. You have to go up, very detailed, from, you know, in the almost in the upper middle, because like I said, deadlines are very important, way important. No matter how good you are, editors will always uh, rely on you if you are very you hit the deadline. So from there, from being a really detailed artist, you level a bit in the middle to make things faster. But yeah, for the readers to appreciate your art, you know, you don't have to be very very fast then produce shitty work.
Yeah.
That's terrible. You won't have any projects after. But yeah, uh, my advice to artists: yeah, show your stuff. Yeah, show what you got. Show your knowledge in perspective. Show your knowledge in lighting, angles, and then paneling. But when you reach that level, that we have tons of projects now. Don't be lazy. You know, because I'm famous, I can be lazy. No, Jim Lee isn't. Is very famous, but his work is still almost the same as the 90s. I can name a lot of people who does the same artwork since the 90s until now. Yeah, I noticed a few also that will rely on their famous names and
Yeah.
produce especially
But
artworks.
then, I
But
mean, that's
there,
like
don't
part of
do
like you
that.
got to have that drive, right? Like you got to have that drive to
Yeah.
want, like you're putting that's your name right there. Like so,
Yes.
people like Rogerio
Yeah,
just
that's
mentioned,
it.
right? Like he
Yeah,
sees,
that's it.
Frank Miller's work, which and then he's like,
Mm.
this isn't Frank Miller, like so like
Mm.
sure he's still gonna make money, but like at the same time, like personally, as someone that would be an artist or a writer, like I wouldn't want. I just can't even imagine like copying out and like, hey, that's my name. Like, just here you go. Here's your
Yeah.
project. Like an
That,
actor that like is just past their prime and just signs a movie contract to like make money
yeah.
and just like doesn't pay attention to the lines, like stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? It's like that. I don't know. I don't get that. And but
Mm.
what I wanted to say too, a ways back there when you were talking about the detailed backgrounds, it's like to me it only makes sense if the background is something you need to see, like you said, right? So because what's important in that panel, it's typically the characters and their
Mm.
expressions and
Mm.
what's being told there. Like Joel said, who cares about a tree over here, right? So like
Yeah.
I
so
do like drawing
that's
trees though. So trees are, I'm surrounded by trees, so I'm very good at it. I like it. So I'm telling you.
I love trees. Keep them
A lot of
there.
source material. A lot of source material.
yeah. Yeah, but and I used to like when Joel and I first started working on Yule One, like I was sending him pictures of like I was reading The Last Ronin, which was like the hottest comic at the time,
Mm.
and I was like zooming in. I'm like, look at it's a blank circle for a face in the background. Like there's not even a nose on that figure in the background, But how many people reading that even notice that when they're flying through, right? They're just looking at the main characters and the colors and just here you go. So I feel like that's really good advice for aspiring creators out there. Focus on what's important in the panel.
Yeah, pretty
So
much. Like that's how our eyes work. Like you focus on something, and everything's just a blur around. So in comics, we make that more obvious. Really, that's it.
yeah,
What was the moment like for you, Ami, going from being a young guy, comic fan, and then all of a sudden breaking through and getting offers from some larger name publishers and things like that? Take us through that moment for you, what that experience was like in your life.
Well, my first project, uh, 2008, was a small indie indie comic book. From that moment on, receiving like 20 $25 a page, really a big a big thing for me
Sure,
back then.
right?
So then my first when I received that email from Zenescope, man, I told my wife, I hit the big time. I hit the big time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I always get excited for
yeah,
people that do it. I'm like, yes, they got it. Like that's so cool. Like,
yeah,
we all want to be there, right? That's all the dream of every indie
yeah.
person, right? Is to finally get some
But
recognition like that. So I'm always curious on
uh,
that.
right, and to think that Zenescope is not that big publisher, they,
They're
but
coming. They're
it's a
getting
stepping
big. They're
stone.
challenging, man. They got some
Yeah,
solid
They
stuff.
have they have
So
nice
yeah,
stuff. I have a friend
yeah,
there.
Yeah, it's a stepping stone for me because after Zenescope, I got noticed by Dynamite. Uh, Dynamite back when the early 2000s was really big. Like they have Alex Ross, they have this all star, you know, hard hitters, and then that Dynamite project, I got the first one. I and you know what I did? My first project for Dynamite, man, Flash Gordon. I
Wow.
colored Flash Gordon.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow,
cool. Yeah,
that's
right. It's fun.
that's awesome.
yeah, Flash Gordon, and
Yeah,
I colored
they didn't give you some no-name
Solar.
character, right? They didn't give you Artichoke Man or something. Somebody that
Man,
nobody knows, right? So, right.
I'm still having goosebumps. Yeah,
That's
with that
awesome.
That's
project.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome, man.
colored Flash Gordon, Solar, the Man of Atom, and those golden age characters, the Phantom.
Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
wow,
Phantom.
man.
Wow,
Yeah.
I love them.
So so
Yeah.
so the experience was really, you know, man. Those were the days I did some flexing. Man, I can do this. I'm gonna show my I can do this. Yeah, yeah. I
I
hit
can
the
see that.
deadline
Yeah.
and really, yeah. So
Yeah.
from there, I got projects from Valiant. I did some ninja coloring. Then I did some IDW coloring. I did, you know, Image Comics. The Image Comics I did was like Rogelio's style, the noir, the noir style. So I use a lot of techniques there. So every project I made, when I really can't believe it. It's like I was dreaming because
Yeah.
when I was in college, I was really dreaming of. I hope I will work with the Image Comics someday. I'll work with the DC or Marvel someday. I want to work with Todd McFarlane someday or Rob Liefeld someday. Man, working with Rob, that's man, it's like icing on the cake.
Does he like call
Yeah.
you up on the phone? How does that go down? Do you get like a text message like, "Hey man, it's Rob
Dude,
Liefeld. Can you come
yeah,
color for me?" Like,
man,
how does that look?
yeah.
What is that like? Yeah.
Well, but he sent me a message. Dude, I really love your work. Then I said, "This Rob Liefeld." It's like early in the morning. Rob Liefeld.
It's
Then I
Bob
checked
Liefeld. Some
his
right. So
yeah. Then I checked his profile. Dude, he has this blue check, and it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
legit. But
yeah.
I
Like,
woke up my wife. Man, Rob Liefeld just sent me a message. Come on.
Wow, that's
It was
that would be
surprising.
an awesome feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Does
yeah,
she get it? Does your wife like get it? She's like, okay, honey, like who the heck
yeah.
is Rob Liefeld? Does she understand like the how cool that is, or she just like
She knows
is she
him.
all about it?
Yeah, she knows him. She knows him because of
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Deadpool
My
movie.
wife would probably be
So
like,
she,
okay, that's
and
cool. I mean, my
I,
wife supported, but she'd probably be like, okay. I'd be like, no, honey, it's a big name. Like, oh, okay. Like I'd have to tell her,
yeah,
a little bit. So, right. So,
but
yeah.
but this is the really fun part. Well, the most peak of my happiness. I was it was like a Sunday morning here, and I learned that I will be coloring for Arthur Adams. So yeah, okay, Arthur Adams. I was excited. Yeah, who
That's
who
awesome.
won't be excited? So I
Right.
was it's a Sunday morning. I was riding my scooter, went to McDonald's, grabbed some meals. Then some person messaged me. So I got my phone. When I opened my phone, Arthur Adams. Arthur Adams. And
Wow.
can I
Yeah.
call you? Can I call you? So
Can you call me?
I said,
Yeah.
yes, I can even wipe your whole
Please
household. I can
call.
clean your I can go there and man, I didn't eat my burgers. Yeah, I have my burgers fries. I have no burgers and fries for me. I wanna call this guy. Yeah, man, my goosebumps. And then after,
Burgers for everybody.
yeah,
Burgers around the house. Give them to everybody. So,
yeah,
it's on the house.
yeah.
buy one for me.
So he was really Arthur Adams was really polite. He was like an uncle, a close relative. He
That's
was
awesome.
really polite. He won't even noticed a really good, really famous guy. He was, "Hey, how are you? How are you doing? What time is it there?" And man, that's what really surreal. So so after the phone call, I ate my burger to up. Then I was really pumped up, and I rode my scooter like as fast as I can. I went home, and I went to my wife and said, "Hey, Arthur Adams contacted me. Who is Arthur Adams?" You don't know Arthur
Yeah.
Adams? And I showed his work. That guy is really good. Man, he's the greatest. I was doing that. So yeah, well,
That's
getting the dream
Yeah, right. It's
projects
like
really hypes me up.
Yeah. Right now,
Feels
you're
priceless.
working. You're working for Marvel. Yeah, and like who are you coloring now? Like a
I
character.
actually, yeah, I'm not working for Marvel right now.
All
I'm
right.
working with I'm still working on the Dynamite Entertainment's
Okay.
Vengeance of Vampirella, which is issue number 22, and I have this
jeez.
covers, yeah, covers, and more on small independent comic books. You know,
That's very good.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, I really love working with small independent books. I if there's I never shut them down. Say I have
Yeah.
good projects now, but I always welcome small independent because you know I can show what I can show my skills in those projects. Whereas in some mainstream projects, you have a limit of what you can do
Yeah. Don't have
because
as much freedom there. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's good to have Marvel in your
yeah,
curriculum, isn't it?
resume,
That
yeah,
open doors. Yeah.
yeah. But right now with the things that's going on right now in the comic book world, small indies are really, you know, being
Blowing up.
a good, yeah, going up and really being successful. Like Boom Studios, they
Yeah.
began small. Then look, they got this really great writer. The artist, yeah, okay. The colors are yeah, but the stories are wow. So that's what I'm after. Small indies, more freedom, and faster pay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
think
Yeah,
I
Exactly.
think you see that like everybody's kind of going that route. Like James Tinian just
Oh
left
yeah.
Joker
yes,
Batman
yes,
to do his own thing, right? So
yes.
and my wife
Mm,
actually was the first to tell me that because she's a big fan of Something's Killing Children, right? We're reading Nice House on the
mm,
Lake together, and I said, yeah, he probably
yeah.
likes the freedom to do what he wants to do more than work
That's
in
what it sounded like.
DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I could
Mm,
see that.
mm,
You're leaving Batman. Like you're not even just leaving DC. Like you're leaving like Batman, right? Like you must.
mm.
He's on top of the world right now though. I mean, he has. I think he tweeted something out like a couple weeks ago where he has 5 of his comics are in the top 25 sales right now. Like
Wow,
that he's written. I mean,
cool.
because you have Department of Truth, you have Something's Killing the Children, you have Nice House on the Lake. Um,
Mm,
I'm trying to recall the other ones right now, but well, the Batman probably
mm,
too. But yeah, it's crazy, and it just goes. I think this maybe will. I'm talking out of my ass, but like this maybe could
mm.
start a trend because some of these guys see the success that you're seeing on the independent stuff, where you can do
Right.
write. He's writing like the
Yeah.
stories that he has under like DC Black Label, like that's so creative and original. It's not
Uh-huh.
superhero stuff. So like
Yeah.
he can just flex that. So I don't know. I'm wondering how it's going to go. I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that sort of thing where some of these bigger
Mm,
names kind of go off and do their own thing. But
mm.
He's leaving social
uh,
media too. He put out a thing that
yeah, I
he's
saw
not
that.
doing anything on
Yeah,
social media anymore. I was like,
yeah,
that's cool to get to that point. You don't need to rely on trying to hawk his stuff on Facebook or
right.
anything anymore,
Yeah.
right? It's a pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Substack or
He was
whatever. He's
talking
using
about
that.
he talked
Yeah,
about the algorithms not working. We talk about that all the time. So he put up that big post about it, and like you have 3,900 people that follow my stuff, and 5 see it. It's frustrating as hell, right? So yeah, it's
yeah.
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Before we go, so we were, I spent the time to grab this while we were talking, when we were talking about Rob. I don't know, I got this, I ordered this from Rob, the Venom Pool cover. He signed it.
Ah,
I was pretty pumped to get that in the mail. But it's irrelevant to the conversation now, but I was trying to pull it out while we were talking about Rob. So I
Well, you
spent the
brought it
time
up,
to get it out.
sir.
I
So
wanted
you're
to
gonna
show.
have to. Right. So now it's
No, this is
relevant. So
dude. This, yeah, I love this cover.
No, it is
But
I love
beautiful. Yeah.
black, white,
yeah,
and red, man. Black, white, and red
yeah,
just sings all the time. All the
yeah,
time. It's always cool.
yeah.
That's
Always
so
cool.
Sim City.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It seems
Exactly.
to
All
be
right,
that.
just to prove my point, can you say this? I
Yeah.
I I had to sell one of my kids to buy one of this, right? And at the end, I got this. You know, like a,
I'll go full screen. Here, let me go full screen, buddy. Yep. Here we go.
yeah, you know, I got this kind of stuff here. Like a, it is so bad. It is embarrassing.
Uh,
It is embarrassing. That this is the Frank Miller work that I hated. I hate it because there's no
uh,
storytelling, no great art, and like, what the fuck? Why would you do this? Look at this. Why would you do this, Frank Miller? No, this is wrong. Look at that. Look at that. Ah, fuck, you have to. I don't even know.
yeah, yeah.
You know, all right, enough for this.
Hey, I hope he's not watching our show. I doubt it, but
We
I hope
love
he's
you,
not
Frank.
because I would
I
love
love
Frank on.
Frank. Come on. Frank knows.
I would love to have him live so I could tell in his face that. Oh,
No,
I
you bet
want-
you would never bring that up.
Where's your real life?
yeah, right. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I would
What were you
just
thinking,
say,
buddy? What was up with this one?
oh, oh my God, I love you. I love you. You are the man. You know, like I know Frank Miller admire him a lot. I was just disappointed. You know,
Yeah.
it's like when you get to a girl going out with someone else, you know, you just feel jealous, you know, betrayed, cheated on, let down, because you know there's so many good stuff from him in the past, and he was the guy that got me addicted to new things in comics.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't allow him to do that, but he doesn't need my allowance for that, so it's all right. But just to prove my point,
When you're not doing comics, Ami, what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not working? What do you like? What do you enjoy doing?
Um, well, I play video games, like mobile games. I don't
Oh,
know if you
nice.
guys know that PUBG, the shooting game. I really love shooting games because
I was a Call
from
of
there
Duty
I
guy. That
can
was my jam. I was a Call of Duty
yeah
freak on that. Oh yeah, man.
I
Hours of
wasn't
my
until
days of my
people
life
get
were
so
gone.
good at that though, man. Like
yeah
yeah. I used to buy them all the Call of Duties, but like honestly, like they just destroy. They make me look like such an idiot. Like I'm happy if I
I'm
get
like a
double-digit kills. Like
I'm like a reformed alcoholic. I can't even touch those anymore because I will lose like 3, 4, 5 days of my week solid gone.
yeah
same
I
me
here,
can't
too
touch them.
yeah
I
me
can't
too
touch them, man. I get sucked
yeah
in. I'm done.
same
Done.
here.
I bought a
Yeah.
PS5 and then we started working on comics and I'm like, well, that's not getting touched because I can't even like it's my son uses it now. He plays Spider-Man. He's beaten
yeah
Spider-Man twice. Like he's like, "Can we buy new games?" I'm like, "No, because then I'll want to play." So,
yeah
but
well that's
Nah,
fun
right,
well
just
that's
play
funny
poker.
because yeah that's funny because I buy lots of games. I still don't have PS5 because it's really scarce here in the Philippines. So I bought a lot of games previously by PS4. I never played any one of them. It's all my son. My daughter plays with them, but I I
yeah,
haven't had the time to play with my PlayStation. But what I do is I play mobile games like PUBG, a shooting game, or maybe I restore my 80s toys like
Yeah, I've been
oh,
seeing
that's
that.
the
nice.
That's
mask.
awesome stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great stuff, man.
yeah. That keeps me busy or keeps my mind off of the project I'm doing. So because sometimes working on comic book projects will drain you. Yeah, they pay a lot. Yeah, I enjoy doing it, but sometimes it drains you. So you have to have another outlet you have to keep your mind off of those projects first. And when you come back
Definitely.
after working on something else, you come back, you'll be faster. You'll be faster than ever, and you'll have a better vision of the project that you're working at.
Yeah. Well, so like writers have
Hi,
writer's
Ozzy.
block. Artists talk about having artist block. Like, do you ever have like color block? Like when you're doing your art with the color, do you? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Like I said, if I have artist block, it will take me a day, sometimes three. The longest was 2 months. I have a project lined up, but yeah, 2 months I did nothing but eat. I ordered pizza, watched YouTube, watched Netflix, stayed on bed, yeah, lay around. And my wife told me, was asking me, "Don't you have any work to do?" I don't want to work, because well, if I drag myself on my wacko, and start coloring, it won't really look good. It will be, people might say that I paid you this kind of amount and this is what I'll be having. I don't want to make, I don't want to uh, let them think that, I give out crappy work. I always work when I'm in the mood because, yeah, it's my namesake. Like what you said
Yeah.
earlier, every work you produce, your name's there, and that's the chance of you getting uh, advertised. You know, if you produce shitty work, no one will hire you anymore. So, but yeah, I have uh, I experience a lot of arts block,
Yeah.
and I don't know what I can recommend. But what I do is I play. I clean my stuff, my collections. I never read comic books. I never touch any comic books while I'm resting. I just watch tons of movies. I'm a movie buff as well.
What are
So
some of
yeah,
your
that's what
famous?
I
What are
do.
some of your favorite films to watch, Ami? What's some of your favorites?
Ah, I enjoyed recently. I enjoyed the Pig, Nicolas Cage.
I haven't seen that yet. I've heard it's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Pig.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to
Pig.
watch it. Many
Yeah,
people
Pig.
told me that it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Pig. I watched the Blood Red Sky on Netflix.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was awesome. And what else? Uh, I watched the Rurouni Kenshin, the beginning, Netflix. Way awesome.
Yeah.
Those are my recent movies I watched.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm behind. I'm trying to get through Star Wars. I was behind. I lost track after like what episode 6 or something. I just fell off the wagon, man. So I had to get caught up, and then Mandalorian came out. I
Yeah,
finally broke out. I got the kids Disney Plus for them to keep them entertained, and so
yeah.
now I'm getting caught up on all that stuff. So finally, I'm behind the ball on that stuff. So yeah,
I,
late
I,
bloomer.
watch what if. Watch what if.
I've heard
yeah,
that was
I
good too.
did. Last
Yeah.
night I watched it. It was really awesome. The
Amazing,
animation is
amazing.
superb.
Great
Yeah,
art. Yeah, I
yeah,
loved it. And I thought I would never any see any Marvel stuff again, but those
yeah.
guys know their stuff.
It's really
It was
good.
good. Yeah.
Really well made. Speaking of Star Wars, I was lucky enough to watch the last Star Wars, the Last Jedi. I went before the pandemic hit. I was in Los Angeles. I got invited because in the Philippines, I also am a Rebel Legion. I'm a member of Rebel Legion Philippines, and I'm going to show you my stuff,
All right.
Star Wars stuff. You can see it.
All right, cool.
Wait,
Wow.
there,
Whoa, no way.
there.
Yeah, a little bit, a
No
little
kidding.
bit, right? Just slightly.
So those
Nice.
helmets in the middle are my official costume helmet.
That is so
So
cool. Yeah.
And
yeah,
what's that? Is a
so
vault? Is a vault or is a fridge?
A
that's a
Vulture
fridge.
fridge.
It's a
I
fridge.
know.
What's in the
I
vault?
can I can't make it out.
All right.
What's that?
We're
It's a
getting a
fridge.
Have you
tour
got
here. This
That's
is
Sorry.
cool.
cool.
beers in there?
Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
love like
yeah,
watching some of the stuff like where they like how they made Star Wars like back in the like how
mm,
the first lightsaber was built. Like
uh,
this stuff is so amazing. Like wasn't it was like they took a piece of a windshield wiper or something and they put it together and then like it's freaking wild. But yeah, I'm sorry, you were telling a story
yeah,
about though you got to go out
yeah,
there and
yeah. The premiere of the Last Jedi. So yeah, coming from the Philippines, it's a big deal for me, and it was my first time to attend a premiere with the Hollywood stars. Like Mark
yeah.
Hamill was there, J.J. Abrams. I shook hands with him, and almost the entire cast. I got their autographs, and man, it was really a dream come true. And to watch in the Chinese theater in Hollywood,
Yep.
man, amazing, amazing experience. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
also
awesome.
saw Rob Liefeld. I saw Rob Liefeld there, but that time, 2019, he doesn't know me yet. So I was shy to approach him because he was talking with someone else. And then I told him recently, "Hey Rob, I saw you at the Star Wars premiere. Oh man, why didn't you greet me? I was shy. Oh, next time, let's take a picture." Okay.
Well, they're coming. Star Wars 10 is coming, so maybe that'll happen, right? So we got to see what happens, right? So good.
I
You
hope so.
never
I
know.
hope so. I hope I get invited again.
There you
Yeah,
go. That's
that's
awesome, man.
cool. Um,
Yep.
I was gonna say, so when we're talking about movies though, like I wanted to see, I guess the Green Knight's supposed to be really amazing too. I think
Oh
that
yeah.
I don't think you can stream that yet, can you? Because if we could, I would be doing it. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if my wife would want to watch that, but I've heard that's amazing.
You
The
like the
Green
Sweet Tooth
Knight.
series too, John? It was a good one too. Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, Sweet Tooth.
Yes.
Sweet Tooth is yeah, very good, very good, very
Have you read the
entertaining.
graphic novel? I mean, have you read the series though?
Not yet, not yet.
It's so I love the show. Don't get
Yeah,
me wrong.
yeah.
I love the show.
Uh,
The
uh,
comic series is so much darker, and I blew me away. Like
ah,
I
really?
love the series. Yeah, like if you read it, you'll be like,
Uh,
that wasn't in the show. Like it would have to be like R rated to be the TV show. But
I see.
the way they spun it and made it like almost it's not family friendly, but the way they almost made it like it's not like it's doom and gloom. It's like I don't know if you remember the movie The Road. It's
Uh-huh.
like apocalypse type stuff in the series.
Uh,
There's like gangs that are much more violent than you see in the show. But
mm,
it's so
mm,
cool how they're both so different yet they're so good. So I
yeah,
love that show.
yeah. So that's what's great with going back to the working on independent titles. Uh, that's what's great with small indies. It's a chance for you guys that to get noticed by some producer, movie producer, or some Netflix producer. Like yeah,
Yeah.
Sweet Tooth, like the other series going on. So that's why I really love to stick and to work with small indies because of that opportunity, because of the
Yeah.
freedom, the creativity. It's endless, you know. So just keep on
Yeah, we
working.
yeah we always talk about like if a Netflix is going to want to do like a Wolverine movie, I mean, God, they got to pay what $40 million just for the right to do that. They're not
Yes,
going to do
yes,
that. They're
yes.
looking for someone indie that has a solid
Uh-huh,
story that they could scoop up, right, and
uh-huh.
put out a product like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
there's like to your point, there's a lot of potential with indies in that regard. It's like
Mm,
just write a solid
mm,
story, and they might notice you. They might get on board with that. So it's really, really
mm.
a big thing right now. And you look at some of the big campaigns that are going on with crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Like there's some incredible stuff coming out of there. I mean, it's going to
Right,
bankrupt me,
right.
man. I can't back all the things I love on there. I support the hell out of a lot of guys. I can't buy them all, unfortunately. It's
Same
just too
here.
much,
Yeah.
too much good stuff. It's hard.
Yeah, I
Yep.
sometimes I just buy when I see a nice cover, I just buy it. But I don't have the time
Me
to read
too.
them. I don't have the
Me
time to
too.
read them.
Yeah.
I have a pile there. It's this
We all
big,
have the
and
pile. I think we all have a pile, right? So it's
I didn't touch it.
Well,
I don't.
I have that Venom pool. I haven't read that. I bought it because Rob signed it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I wanted that cover. I thought it
Yeah,
was cool. So yeah, I'm the same way. I have a stack. Like in and we've been having some authors on too. So like, so we've been like reading their novels before they come on the show, and it's like, okay, well, now my comic stack is just building because I'm sitting there researching the book that we're going to be talking about, or we're working on our own stuff. But
I
I don't
tell
want to lose out. I want to get the first issue, right? Like with the Last House on the Lake, Nice House on the Lake. Sorry. Like I'm buying them all. I haven't read the first issue yet, but I'm like, I want to get the first print. I don't want to miss out on that. I don't.
I tell myself that I'm
Yeah,
gonna read them when I retire.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm too busy.
I have a question for you guys and for those guys who's watching, because there came a time that comic books are promoted, or someone was DC Comics or maybe Marvel Comics was promoting the digital comics. Which do you prefer, the digital comics or the
Mm.
hard copy of the comic book? Which
I
do you
personally
prefer?
physical all day long for me. Like same with with novels. Like my wife bought me a Kindle like 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh sweet, I'll use that. And then I bought like 3 books, and I'm like, this isn't the same to me. Like I need an actual book in my
Yeah,
hand. So
yeah,
I mean, obviously we got to release the digital. That's like, oh, there's a big crowd for that, but there's a perfect example. You don't get the full experience. Like in Yule
mm,
1, Joel did a 2-page spread with the panels going in a U formation. And when you're reading that digitally, you don't, you're going one page at a time, and you get to that second page and it's like, what am I supposed to look at right now? But when you see it side by side, it's very obvious. So I
mm,
don't know. I would say physical all day long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that.
you know,
Like to your point, John. Yeah, it was hard with that, especially with that when we did that 2 page. We did like a 2 page splash. It's like this, right, in a digital when it's supposed to read like this. So it's hard. Gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to physical books, I do love them, and I'm old school, as you can see.
mm,
And but if I am going traveling, all right, is I'd rather take my iPad and have them digitally there, so I can
yeah,
read my comics on the
yeah,
iPad. But I'm still too attached to the physical touch. And like people say, all right, but you can zoom in and zoom out. Yes,
mm,
I can zoom
mm,
in, zoom out. So just doing like
mm.
this, like it's all right. I don't mind. But I understand that there always will be people who are going for the real books
Mhm.
and people who want the just the perks of having them digitally because it's easy
Mm.
to carry with you. Like
Yeah.
if your house goes on fire, it's all right because you have them in the cloud somewhere.
Uh,
I've lost some comics. I've lost so many comics just because I had
mm.
some. There was a dripping,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
and it went into my whole collection while I was away, and I've lost three
Mm.
thousand comic
Ooh,
books.
Oh my
yikes.
gosh.
3,000.
Wow.
I'm no bullshitting you guys. That put me off big time.
Of course.
Wow.
I after that, I said I'll never buy a comic book again.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, really, because everything was Fox. I couldn't recover a few of them. Maybe I'd say like a couple of hundreds, and all the rest was just forever
Uh,
gone. And
uh,
if I went, if I had gone digital there, then it wouldn't be possible. Like I wouldn't mind at all. That
but
wouldn't happen.
so back to my biggest thing though with the digital is the panel layout because Joel and I were talking about like something is killing the children and like I just was trying to find it. So like if you look, this is a side by side and these panels go
mm.
across and then
Right, right.
so how are you going to read that digitally because you're going to
Yeah.
see one page at a time and then go to this one but you're
Mm.
supposed to read it across like that. So how does that even work with digital? I just don't
Yeah.
understand. You
Yeah.
can't get creative with the
And
panel layouts. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
you,
yeah.
and maybe because in my opinion, digital is yes. I should agree with Rogerio. The you won't be holding it physically. You won't be carrying it when you're traveling. But in physical, it's not the same as physical because in physical you have this suspense when turning pages. Like what Joel said, the you got to feel the book you're reading. Every page you turn, it's the suspense. What will happen next to this character? Oh yeah, wow, diba? It's the experience and the texture of the paper. You're gonna miss that. The smell of the paper, especially the golden age, silver age, copper age comic books. The smell while reading your old comic books or novels. Yeah, that's the experience. It's missing with digital.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a
I
big
Yeah,
agree.
Image
exactly.
fan, exactly that. So I love EC comics, like from the 50s,
Mm,
and those comics are my friends in my studio, right? They hang on my wall. So it's like they keep me
yeah,
company too. Like I couldn't do that digital. They decorate my studio and
yeah.
they're there, and I pull one up and maybe I reference something or look at something, and
Mm,
it's there. But yeah, just to see that, and I think it's so cool, man, when you get a comic from like 1951 and it's survived for 71 years,
yeah,
70 years. Here it is in
that's
my hands.
awesome.
What story does this tell? And I'm not a big
Uh,
condition guy. Some of these guys like has to be
mm,
perfect. Like I like the book Warren that's that old because I'm like,
mm,
how the hell did this coffee stain get on here? What's that story? Or
mm,
how did this get torn?
mm,
Did the mom like was at the kid and is throw out this shitty comic? There's all kinds of stories like that with those things, and they tell their own
mm,
story being kind of roughed up, and some kid loved that thing and beat the hell out of it, and it stayed with them forever. And I like that. If it's a new book, yeah, I kind of want it to be nice, but if it's old, I don't mind it being worn. I think that adds something to it. It's kind of cool. It tells its own story on
mm,
top of the story, so I really enjoy
mm,
that. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
we're,
cool.
we're coming up on the hour and a half mark. I don't know if you want to keep going in respect for Omi's time here. We can keep going if you want,
No,
or we can wrap, man, whatever you want.
yeah,
So no worries.
30
Yeah.
more
And,
minutes.
and,
I'm
and
enjoying. I'm
All right.
enjoying.
you,
Cool.
you, you can tell us a little bit more about how did you decide? I'd say, what was the pivotal
Mm,
moment that you said, I'm going to be a colorist, and that's
okay,
it. But now,
okay,
okay, hang on, because
yeah,
this is my pee break. I go for a
okay,
pee, and I'm gonna come back. All right.
okay, okay.
Mute
You-
your mic. We don't want to hear you pee.
yeah,
Omi, just
but-
here we go. He's in a
typical,
bottle of it. Get a
typical
bottle
Virginia.
on the
Ask a
table.
question and then say, "All right, I'll be right back."
He always
Yeah,
does that. That's his move. Yeah, but you can
Yeah,
talk. Well, he'll listen to it. So go ahead. Yeah, don't worry.
yeah,
It'll be
yeah.
forever. So go ahead, Omi.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, back into yeah, when I was working as a graphic artist, like my work was really redundant. Yeah, like every day, wake up at 6 a.m., drive to the office, do the same stuff, computers everywhere, like talk with my boss who's not that capable, and
Shocking.
uh, and yeah, talking and then being sarcastic all the time, and you get sick and tired of doing that. But when I was noticed via DeviantArt, um, that's a different experience for me because, like I said, it was a childhood dream. It's dream come true for me to work on comic books. So uh, I forgot to share this question again.
I'm back.
What's your question again?
I,
He asked the moment that you decided you wanted to become a
Yeah.
colorist is what he
Okay.
asked. Yeah.
So
yeah,
yeah.
what
So
happened?
yeah. So yeah, I was a graphic artist, and my work was really boring. It bores me a lot because I can do the whole marketing campaign in one sitting, in one day, and for other artists, it will take them a week. So I was really known to be a fast worker. So it really bores me a lot. So when I got the first independent comic book title and received uh, my paycheck, it was really higher than what I'm earning monthly. So uh, one project became two projects became four, and so forth and so on. And once I was contacted by Zenescope, I decided to quit my job. That was around 2009. I was earning like really good, way better than I had this. I have to put this extra story. I was earning really good in 2008, 2009. So what I do with my salary and my office desk work was to treat all my office mates pizza almost every day. I treat, you know, because
Awesome.
my salary in this office desk job was really crappy, really, really low. It was like, yeah, come on, pizza, let's eat pizza. My treat. Then after that, I decided it's not worth it anymore. My pay isn't worth it anymore. I'm gonna do this comic book thing full time. And there, I resigned 2000 December 2009. I resigned,
And here you
and
are. That's
luckily,
awesome.
yeah, luckily I got a huge pay from my service there on my desk job. Then concentrated on working full time to comic books, independent comic books and Zenescope. So uh, yeah, that made me decide the paycheck, and
Yeah.
of course living the dream.
That's it right there. It's like
Yeah.
we still have day jobs, right? I mean, obviously we're a small indie company that's just starting out within the last year, so like
Uh,
we don't expect it to happen overnight, but that's the
mm,
dream. You know, we would love,
mm,
we have so many ideas and so many stories that we want to put to comics, but like we can only we're we're uh, small, right? You know,
mm,
it's Ruggerio's working on one book, Joel's working on another. I
mm.
wrote, that's it, like you know, so like we have so much more we want to do. We
Yeah.
have stuff lined up, and like someday hopefully that's the dream, is that we can, you know, I don't even personally, I mean, sure, I'd love to make like a lot of money, but even if I could do make the money I'm making now but doing what I love to do, like that's like
That's a
we
difficult
have
thing.
decent
Yeah.
day jobs. Yeah, we have decent
Yeah.
day jobs. We make decent money, so it would take a lot to, first of all, to tell my wife, hey, I'm leaving my
Oh,
day job, you know. So,
you
How's your
can do
benefits,
that.
hon? Do you have your insurance, your health insurance, right? That's a big thing too
Yeah.
over here,
yeah,
right? So when you have
yeah,
Well,
kids and
that's a
family,
different.
that's a big
Yeah.
risk too, right? So that's a big thing to think about. I was going
Yeah.
to ask you, like,
Mm,
obviously the money was there, which was awesome, but like I think a lot of artists would have that fear. It's like, man, do I leave the
mm,
guaranteed good thing, right? I know the money's going to come
mm,
every week. I get paid. I have health insurance and all this thing, and
mm,
then they go, oh man, do I throw caution to the wind and go chase my dream? And
mm,
yeah, I have
mm.
jobs now, but what if the comic book industry hits the skids? What if that dries
Right.
up?
Right.
So I remember
Good
I've worked
question.
for
Yeah.
myself in the past, right? Where and people go, oh, you own the company, you must be rich. It's like, no, man, I'm the last to get paid. I got to pay my guys, I got to pay the electricity, all
Mm,
these things. If there's money left over, I get paid,
mm,
right?
mm.
So that's a real fear that I could see a lot of people having, making that jump. Did you experience that all, or the money was just right there, and you're like, hey, man, I'm doing this, and I guess, furthermore, was the wife on board with that? To John's point, was she cool with that, or was she like, "Oh, boy, I don't know, Ami. Like, we need to talk through this, buddy." Like, what
Yeah.
was that like?
Yeah. So that's a really good question because uh, unlike you guys, I mean, in America, the cost of living as an American is really high compared to the cost of living here in the Philippines. What I earn here won't make me survive when I'm living in America. My sisters live in America. One is in Missouri, in St. Louis, and the one lives in Philadelphia. She's a nurse, and the other one is a housewife. But you know, we're awfully rich. Anyway, but
Right?
if I decide to live there in America, I won't survive with this paycheck I'm getting. It's a good thing I'm living here in the Philippines. But to answer your question regarding the health benefits and everything, well, yeah, I have a wife, a lawyer wife.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
That
She
that was
handles
always the joke,
the
right? If you're an artist, marry up, right? Marry a rich wife, so it's
yeah,
easy, right? So,
she handles that stuff. But yeah, but joking aside, I set aside money for my insurance and for the health and for the education of the kids. I see to it that I cover all of that stuff. And yeah, it's a good thing also, but my wife has a stable work. So if everything happens, if every thing goes south, my side, we have a backup plan. But yeah, knowing myself, I won't give up easily into my career, my chosen career. I would fight. I would work harder to get more projects and to earn more for my family. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, we talk about the passion side of it too. It's like
Mm.
we we're doing this because we love doing it. Like we,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you have a day job. If you think of it, like
Mm.
we we'll be up till 1 or 2 in the morning texting about the book, and it's not because
Mm.
we're like at a deadline. We don't have a deadline. We work for ourselves on this on that side of it. You know, it's up to
Mm.
us. But we just are so passionate about it, right? Like, and you need that drive. We had a published author on our last show on Wednesday, and he said the difference between a published author and a non-published author is that the non-published author gives up. Like
Mm.
it takes, you have to grind it out. You have to just keep
Mm.
going. It has to be in you. Like Joel said this, I've said it. Rogeri said it. Like you have to like we have to be doing this. Like it can't like my whole since I've been old enough to realize what I wanted to do. Like I always told myself if I didn't try to write, I would hate myself for it. And I always
Yes,
said I would do it. I always said I
exactly.
would do it. And same with what these guys were saying on the drawing side. It's like
Mm.
you need that drive. It has to be in you to push yourself because you're not always going to make money off it.
Mm.
So I think for a lot of people watching that are just starting out, like don't expect to get rich right out of the gate. Don't expect to make good money out of the gate.
Mm.
Do it because you love doing it, and just hope
Yes.
that it's going to get recognized. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
and also, guys, there's a side effect to what we do, and like in my day job, like I do advertising artwork, and like it just goes all right. But when you do comics, when you do real art, that kind of sticks in people's minds.
Mm.
I went out last night to a bar that I go like and whenever I have a chance, which is not much. And like I went chatting to some people outside the bar, and like a couple of them said, "Wow, I see what you're doing. Like you're doing a great comic art and stuff," and like that kind of make us feel that we are doing something relevant. People will love it. People want to know more about it, and it's something that I don't get in my day job. And comics resonates to people's heart, and you
Yes.
feel
Yes.
that you are you're making the world a more good looking place because there's more art, and you are a piece that is contributing to it. And like if I only had known that 10 years ago, like I would have changed that earlier on. But, you know, we still got time. And we are kind of very, very happy to having this program here. And it's not a job.
Mm.
It's something that we do
Mm.
because we do love it. We are really
Love it. Love.
interested in it.
Yes.
And like every guest is like we are getting richer, in a way that we learn from you guys. And like we exchange ideas, we get different
Yes.
point of views and perspectives. And there's one thing that unites people in the world. It's the love for the comics craft.
Mm.
And we are all
Yes.
equal, like those guys there, they are in New England. I'm here in Brazil. You're there in Philippines.
Mm.
And it's like there's no I can see a huge different gap culturally speaking,
Mm.
among us here. And this is something. There are only two things that can bring people together, in my opinion. The first one is rock and roll, and the second one is comics.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I love both.
well, I would say entertainment in general, right? Like, and not just
Yes.
comics. Like, if you think about like, and I've said this on the show too, where it's like the people that have the creative mindset think of it this way, but the people that don't. Like, they'll watch a movie and they'll think that was a good movie, but like people like us that like want to be creative, like we're like what made that movie good? You know, like what was it that did that? Like in the comic book, why is that so like captivating? Like, and I've said this to my wife. It's like, you know, you tell someone you're working on a comic book, like, oh, that's cool. It's like a hobby to people in their mind sometimes, right?
Mm.
But it's like who do you think, like, what type of people do you think had to make that movie? What type of people do you think had to do that novel or comic book?
Mm.
Like it's in our brains. Like, this is what we want to do. Like, it's so. Um, I just don't think a lot of people think of it that way, and it's, you know,
Uh-huh.
they just watch it and just expect it. They don't realize that, like, there has to be that passion
The,
out there for the people that
yeah,
want to make it.
the
So
hard work and passion. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, most people take it for granted, you know.
Yes.
yeah,
But
Exactly.
when you grow older and wiser, you start to notice, things that are just there between the lines, and that's it. Like when I get a nice comic book, yeah, oh, it's dropped off.
well, you're talking too much. Is your no? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Oh man, I
He
hope he
left.
comes
Hopefully, he
back.
hops back on. Yeah, hopefully, he hops
Yeah,
on.
maybe his battery went off. Maybe.
Oh, that
Could
was a
be.
good chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sure it was. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
he,
look at that piece behind him. Oh, here he comes. He's coming back. So that's cool. Here he goes.
yeah. This is very
Sorry,
good. Look at this.
No worries.
sorry about that.
We were just
No, we
admiring
were
we're
we
admiring
were
his
just
work here.
talking.
Look at this work here. Like,
yeah.
this is
This
fantastic,
is
Omi. I just want to
something.
say, man, like this is hats. I mean, I don't think you could do that better, right? There's no way that
Well,
someone could come along and say, "Oh, I got to
Look
fix
at
this
that.
or change that," right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. I would love to see the black and white version of this because I know you did just a great job there. You
Mm.
I'll
know,
go full. Want to
and
go
look at
full
this.
screen? Yeah, let's go full screen here, buddy. Let's take a look.
This is sexy. This is great. And without the colors, this art
Uh-huh.
wouldn't be this good. Look at that.
Yeah. That's illustrated by my friend Sheldon Go from Malaysia. Yeah.
Wow.
It's from Malaysia.
Yeah, he's from
Very
Malaysia. He's a Malaysian
great,
artist.
great artist,
Yeah.
and
Like,
the color matches with the
thank
art.
you. That's
Very
one of
good.
my famous coloring of Wonder Woman. It's all over Pinterest and any social media app I know. It really gains fans, followers. Really
Yeah,
blessed to do that.
and you don't mind people downloading your art, yeah, because they are
Ah,
in a
no.
very high resolution there.
Yeah, no, no, no.
A-
I don't mind
Any
at all. As long as they
yeah,
don't sell it.
anybody could make a nice poster with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
very
I,
good
I,
resolution.
I doubt it if they can make a good poster for that, but I don't
Yeah,
mind
a
them
small
down.
one.
Yeah, small one maybe.
Yeah, I'd say like an A3 format would be all right.
Rogerio, stop
Yeah.
trying to give stop trying to give people hints here.
Look at that! Look at this!
I mean, you don't
It's
have.
Mike Diodato.
Yeah, my fellow Mike Deodato.
Yeah, Mike Diodato illustrated that one. Really awesome.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, we're going to have him in the show. I think.
I think
I
he's retired.
negotiate.
I think he's retired right now. Am I right?
No, he isn't. No,
Ah,
he's drawing. He's not in Marvel. He's not doing DC anymore. He's
okay.
doing his own projects,
I see.
and it's great. I bought his
That
latest book.
Mm-hmm.
It's there
that
somewhere.
almost looks like Alex Ross. Like when it's far back like that, it almost looks like a Alex Ross painting. That's wild. That's good coloring.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's a
Yeah.
dream project, Omi? If you could work on anything, what would you want to work on?
Spider-Man. Very fast.
Oh,
Spider-Man.
Nice, there you go. Yeah,
Ah,
it's in your name, right?
I
It's in the
knew that.
YouTube name. It's
Yeah,
on the YouTube name,
Spider-Man.
right?
Yeah.
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 that's if anyone asked me what I wanted to write first, Spider-Man would be my answer for writing too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Spider-Man without the buildings. No,
Without the yeah, good luck with that.
that's
All
Yeah.
that's
right.
impossible. Yeah.
Buy him a motorbike,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Captain America.
Spider-Man in a different realm, like do the Spider-Verse, right, where he's in some different universe, and there's no skyscrapers
Yeah,
for you to have to draw.
that's my
Yeah.
illustration. That's my first time using Copic markers,
Wow.
and inspired by Alex Ross artwork, of course.
All right. Is this art digital? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's traditional. I sketched it on a paper, then tried Copics. First time, like that's around
All right.
2014, 2015.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like. So you drew the Spider-Man too, or did someone else draw that one?
What?
You draw
Did
it
you
all,
draw
like you
Again?
it?
did the whole thing.
Yeah, I did the whole thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. The same one this
What
year.
are,
That's someone else. Someone else did
Uh,
this one here.
this is I forgot the artist, the illustrator who did that.
yeah, what book
Gerardo
is this for? It almost looks like Mad Max. Like, what is that? What is
Yeah,
the?
that's Mad Max.
Oh, it is. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, but you are faster than I am.
I just love the
Yeah.
whole like landscape of Mad Max. Like, it
Yeah.
just stands out. So yeah, that's awesome.
But in this case, when you got the art, you got some shades in gray, didn't you?
Mm. Yeah, I put
Okay.
tones, brush
Yeah.
tones.
Yeah. I could see that. Very good. Very
That's
good.
what I do. That coloring style is what I do when I color noir stories.
Right. Are you doing commissions?
Yes, I am. The artwork I showed you earlier was a commission
All
piece
right.
by Kevin Sharp.
When you do
Nice.
commission, what type of technique are you using? Like is watercolor or
I basically I only do digital art, digital coloring. But locally, when people commission me, they always request for my commission, my Copic coloring on their blank covers. So yeah, but when I go to the states, attend New York Comic Con, I offer traditional coloring using Copics, and sometimes I draw.
okay? Just one last question from me.
Mm.
We have many, not too many. I wish we had more people out there. They want to start doing this kind of thing. They want to start.
Mm.
They want to become professional artists, professional colorists, people who are interested in this kind of craft. And what would you tell them now that you wanted to be told then when you were beginning?
Um, my my advice to them is to um, pursue their goals, their dreams. Because Will Sportasio, if you know the guy, the Will Sportasio gave me this note, but it says, "Dreams, keep them alive." So that's what I did. I was a graphic artist for some advertising company, computer company. It wasn't, I didn't love it, but in my heart, it was always comic books. So I kept that dream alive until now. I am chasing that dream. I am still chasing the Spider-Man dream of mine. And yeah, that's my piece of advice. Do good. Do good at all, at everything you do, and be humble. uh, be well connected. That's it. That's all you need. You learn how to market yourself, and that's all the advice I could give your viewers out there starting up. And working on small projects, small indie projects, is not a bad thing anymore, because like we were discussing, right, it's a chance of getting known by producers, and shows, and you get a lot of creative freedom. And of course, budget-wise, it's not that terrible anymore because you have crowdfunding like Kickstarter, like those types of things. It's not a bad idea anymore. So just keep that creativity and work on it and work with awesome people like you guys. You guys really gel a lot. So that's what's important. And keep that dream alive. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ami.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
very much for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to wrap
I
things
was just
up. I
gonna
was
say
gonna
the same thing. Yeah.
Right? I was going to let Ami get
Yeah.
the last word, buddy. So I didn't know if there's anything else. What else would you like to include on the show that we could wrap up with? That's pretty good. I don't know if you can follow that, but if you want a last word, you have it. So go right ahead, sir.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Just I think I said everything, and basically, comic books isn't really a high-paying job. Just have to have family support because that's also important. The family. If your family doesn't support what you do, doesn't believe in you, it's really hard to launch yourself out in that comic book world. But if you have a understanding family, wife, kids, mother, your siblings supports you all the way, man, that would be a breeze. You know, you'll be hearing their suggestions. You do this, do that. You lacks this one, or you're doing great. You need that support, even moral support, not just financially. That will come along with Kickstarter. So yeah, it's important. Family, it's important. Someone who's
Definitely.
guiding you, and friends who can connect you to other to their friends who's in the business, and who also shares your stuff. You know, you have this Facebook friends, but doesn't believe in you. That's useless. Block him. Go unfriend him. You know, it's reality. You need
Yeah.
friends who can share your work. You can share your passion. That's what I got in my friends, my Facebook page. Friends who share, friends who support me, and I thank you for that. And guys like you who invite me to their really cool podcast. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for that.
No.
So
w-
that's what we
That's
need.
yeah. No. This is we want to see all ends of the spectrum as far as writers, illustrators, colorists, so it's cool to talk to all different avenues because
Mm,
we have people that want to do all that stuff. So,
right, right.
yeah, so, um, and this was a great conversation. I feel like people can get a lot out of this. So, we
Mm,
thank you for coming on and
yeah,
yeah,
it was my pleasure, guys. It was my pleasure.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Hey, welcome back anytime. So whatever we can do to help you out, brother, you let us know, and
Oh, sure,
we'll
no
do that for you.
problem.
So appreciate your
Is,
time
is
and
there
everything.
anything you want? Is there anything you want to promote? Any projects you're working on right now, or?
Well, like I said, I'm begin coloring Vengeance of Vampirella by Dynamite Entertainment. It's all available monthly, and the rest are small indies, which I love working on. And if you wanna reach out, commission me for coloring, I'll be available. Just message me my Facebook page, and I also have a work Facebook page, which is digital coloring by Omi Remalante. Then please follow me at YouTube at Spidey0318, and on Instagram Omi0318.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Instagram,
Yeah,
Omi, what?
yeah, Omi0318.
Omi0318. Yeah,
Yeah, on
that's
Instagram.
that. All right, cool. Thank you very
Mm.
much,
Awesome.
Omi. And I hope you
Yeah,
get your Spider-Man sometime
I hope so.
down the
Yeah,
web.
yeah, man.
Right?
yeah,
That's
You
awesome.
deserve it.
yeah,
You deserve it.
yeah.
All
Crossing
right,
my fingers. Yes.
there you go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a great night. We'll be back next Friday, I think, right? I don't know if John's joining us, but we'll see you guys Friday night. So again, Ami, thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate everybody that watched with us tonight. Continue to support, love, share comics, share the show, share each other's art, tell stories, tell your friends, at least 3 enemies and keep up the good fight. For everybody out there, stay livid, and we'll catch you guys on next Friday.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you.